Reducing radicals, and we're going to focus with the square roots. This first slide you don't need to write down. It just talks about the three pieces of a radical. This first piece is your radical sign. What's underneath or inside the radical is what we call a radicand. And then this here is an index. Now for this set of videos, we're going to really just focus on square roots, so the index is 2. I do recommend that you memorize your perfect squares, cubes, fourths, and fifths. So like 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, etc. If we go into our cubes, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Or 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81, all the way down to some fifths. You can add to that chart if you want to, but it'll make your life easier if you have these memorized. Let's go into reducing some simple radicals. You probably have these memorized, the square root of 25 or 36 or 16, but I want to just kind of go backwards a minute and break this down. So if I want to break down the square root of 25, remember if there's not a number here, that index is 2, square root. I break down 25 into a product of two numbers. So I'm going to go 5 times 5, which is 25. If my index and my power match up, so here's my index, here's my power, everything cancels out and I'm just left with 5. And this is going to help us more in harder problems. So square root of 36, index is 2. You can break that down as 6 times 6, which is 6 squared. The index and the power match up, so you're left with just an answer of 6. Last one, rewrite 16 as 4 squared. My index is 2. My index and my power match up. So your answer is 4. You probably can just go right now to the square root of 25 is 5, the square root of 36 is 6, or the square root of 16 is 4. But they will get more difficult as we move through the class where they're not just going to be perfects anymore. And that's things like these. So the square root of 32, you want to break down 32 into a product of a minimum of 2 numbers. So I can break down 32 as 4 and 8, or as 16 times 2. There's many ways you can break down a product into 2 numbers. This is probably the better one, because then you can break down 16 as 4 squared. And then I still have this 2 here, and then my index is 2. Now notice, index and power match up, so that 4 will come out in front, and then this 2 will stay underneath. So we say our final answer then is 4 square roots of 2 in exact form. Second example, break down square root of 8 as a product of 2 numbers, 4 times 2. And you can break down 4 as 2 squared. Index is 2. So index and power match up. So this is going to come out in front as a 2. And then what stays underneath is this other 2. So square root of 2. Last example, square root of 20. Can be broken down in 10 times 2 or 5 times 4. Then you can break down 4 as 2 squared. And then you have that 5. Index is a 2. The index and power match up. So this 2 will go out in front. And then what I call my leftovers, the 5 stays underneath. So it's a 2 square roots of 5.